What if I told you that Lewis Hamilton is so disappointed with Ferrari that he's already secretly negotiating his return to Mercedes? What really happened in Maranello for the 7-time world champion to threaten to leave the team before the new 2026 regulations? Subscribe to continue uploading more of this type of content now. If we continue, the 2025 Formula One season promised to be a revolution for Ferrari. After years of irregularity, strategic errors, and disappointments at key moments, the signing of Lewis Hamilton was seen by many as the blow to the table that the Scuderia needed to return to the top. A 7-time world champion with all his experience, talent, and winning mentality joined Maranello not only as a driver, but as a symbol of a cultural change. It was a risky bet, but an ambitious one. And at first, everyone wanted to believe it could work. But the reality was implacable. From the first pre-season tests, the relationship between Hamilton and Ferrari began to show cracks. The promises about a car adapted to his style were not fulfilled. The SF25, heir to the SF24 that already had unstable behavior in certain cornering phases, did not offer the traction or balance that Lewis needed to maximize his performance. Worse still, as Charles Leclerc looked increasingly comfortable and competitive, Hamilton was faced with a car that seemed to resist any adjustments he suggested. This generated deep discomfort in the Briton, who had already lived a similar experience in his last years with Mercedes, where he felt that his development indications had been progressively ignored. The situation reached its boiling point after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. During the tests after the last race of the year, Hamilton called a private meeting with the Ferrari leadership. It was no ordinary technical meeting. It was, according to multiple internal leaks, a kind of intervention. There, the driver made his frustration clear. He did not feel listened to, he did not feel supported, and most worryingly, he had the feeling that there were forces within the team that systematically favored his garage partner. From in-race strategy decisions to the type of updates implemented during the year, Hamilton listed a series of moments that, in his opinion, evidenced a lack of impartiality in the management of the team. What makes the conflict even more serious is that Lewis did not come to this conclusion alone. During the season, he accumulated a series of records and internal reports reflecting inexplicable technical discrepancies between his car and Leclerc's, repeated communication failures on the part of his race engineer Riccardo Adami, and even alterations in strategies that cost him potential points. All of this fueled his theory that there was an operational bias against him. And what began as a professional disappointment soon turned into a deep distrust of Ferrari's technical structure. The center of his ultimatum is the 2026 car, known internally as Project 678. This car will be the first major creation under the new technical regulations that will come into force with the next era of Formula One, and Hamilton wants to ensure that the mistake of the SF25 is not repeated, a car that did not belong to him in either philosophy or execution. Their claim is clear. If Ferrari really wants to be champion, the new car must be built with its DNA. Not as a marketing metaphor, but from the very basis of design, this involves very specific transformations. Firstly, it requires a complete review of the suspension system to allow greater confidence when attacking corners. Lewis needs a front axle that gives him immediate agility and a rear axle that doesn't compromise traction when exiting corners. In 2025, the Ferrari offered neither one nor the other. In addition, he has requested an update to the braking system. He needs a balance that allows him to brake late, deeply, and with stability, as he used to do in his golden years with Mercedes. But the issue goes beyond the physical components of the car. Hamilton wants a restructuring of the technical environment around him. He has lost faith in his engineer Riccardo Adami and has made it clear that he wants a new race manager with whom he can build a relationship of mutual trust. He also asked for a more active role in data analysis, in car simulation, and in the strategic decisions made during the weekend. For him, it is no longer enough to be informed. He wants to participate. He wants to decide. He wants to lead. Ferrari, historically, has been a hierarchical, often secretive organization, and therein lies another point of friction. Hamilton, who comes from a background like Mercedes where his voice had real weight in the development of the car, has clashed with a culture where tradition often trumps performance. And that is something he is not willing to tolerate at a stage in his career where each season counts as one last opportunity to expand his legacy. For this reason, he has set an unofficial deadline, January 2026. By then, Ferrari must present the first simulation data of Project 678. And if those numbers do not show a car with real potential to win races from the first date, Hamilton will activate his exit clause. In other words, he is willing to abandon ship before it sets sail if he believes that the team's technical course is doomed to failure. This posture is not just pressure, it is a declaration of principles. Hamilton doesn't want to be part of a half-baked project. He wants to be the centerpiece of a revolution. And if Ferrari is not prepared for that, others are. Mercedes, for example. While Ferrari digests the internal threat posed by Hamilton's ultimatum, a silent but calculated move is brewing in another part of the paddock. Toto Wolff watches, not with nervousness, but with the patience of someone who knows his rival very well. Because Wolff wasn't just Lewis' boss during Mercedes' most dominant era. He was also his confidant, his unconditional support in most difficult moments, and above all, the architect of the environment in which Hamilton became a legend. Therefore, when it was leaked that Lewis had begun exchanging messages with Wolff weeks before the end of the season, no one in the paddock was surprised. What had caused chills was the content of those conversations. They were not polite greetings or nostalgia for the past. They were technical exchanges. Discussions about regulations, about the aerodynamic profiles expected in 2026, about the direction that Mercedes is taking with the successor to the W15. Toto Wolff knows that the 2026 driver market will be the most turbulent in a decade. Max Verstappen has already made it clear that he has no intention of staying at Red Bull if he does not have a winning car. McLaren dominates, but its drivers are locked into armored contracts. Ferrari is an internal chaos, and that makes Mercedes the ideal platform for a major reconstruction. Wolff wants to lead this reconstruction with a name that has immediate weight, natural leadership, and the ability to generate technical credibility in the face of the new regulations. Place Hamilton as the axis of a project that can attract high-level engineers, major sponsors, and institutional stability in the midst of the general chaos of post-Red Bull F1. And the strategy is clear. They will not put pressure publicly, they will not talk to the media. They just need Ferrari to not keep their end of the deal. If the Project 678 simulation data in January shows weaknesses, if Hamilton sees no clear evolution in its technical environment, the path will be open, and Mercedes will be ready. Indeed, there are already quiet movements within Brackley that suggest the 2026 seat is not as tight as it seems. Although Kimi Antonelli has shown talent, the team knows he still needs to mature. And while George Russell has been consistent, he doesn't have the media aura or global impact that Hamilton still represents. Toto knows it. Formula One is performance, but also narrative. And Hamilton's return would be the perfect story to open the new era. The champion returns for one last conquest with the experience of 1,000 battles and hunger intact. We are not talking about a simple transfer. It would be a masterstroke. One that would reconfigure the power map in Formula One just when the category enters a radical technical transformation. Because beyond what happens on the track, what is brewing between Hamilton and Wolff is a reminder that, in this sport, loyalty is written in pencil, but the desire for victory is engraved in fire. Hamilton's threat is not just a dilemma for Ferrari. It is a silent earthquake that, if it materializes, could trigger a chain reaction that would completely alter the established order of modern Formula One. Because when a driver of his caliber, with his history and political weight, proposes a break of this caliber, he is not only questioning his current team. He is sending a signal to the rest of the grid, to the managers, to the sponsors, and to the technical system of the category itself. For Ferrari, the implications are devastating. Losing Hamilton before 2026 would mean not only failing in a strategic signing, but confirming that, despite their resources and legacy, they remain a structure incapable of managing the pressure of the elite. Lewis' departure would send an unmistakable message: Ferrari has not changed. That their culture of erratic decisions, their inability to prioritize their star pilots, and their slowness to adapt technically continue to be the same ghosts that they have carried for more than a decade. And the damage would not only be sporting, it would be institutional. The consequences could range from the loss of key technical talent, engineers who joined attracted by the figure of Hamilton, to a blow to public perception of Frédéric Vasseur's project. Even internally, a departure of this magnitude could fracture the relationship with Charles Leclerc, who would go from being protected by the team to being exposed as a potential beneficiary of a conflict that divided the entire structure. But if the impact in Maranello would be monumental, what it would generate at the championship level would be even more disruptive. If Hamilton returns to Mercedes and finds a solid project there for 2026, with a new regulation that equalizes the conditions, he could once again be a real contender for the title. and that would reactivate narratives that many already consider concluded. The return of a multiple world champion to the fight for the throne, just at a time where Red Bull is beginning to show cracks and McLaren leads with young drivers, would represent an injection of drama and emotion that would redefine the post-Verstappen era. Subscribe to continue uploading more of that content. Now you really think about all this.